So I want to talk about the all digital future of video games and how it can be quite a scary world, knowing one day we're going to have to buy all of our games digitally. It really wouldn't be a scary world if we knew that all of our purchases would last a lifetime or last forever pretty much, because if you pay your hard-earned money for some of these games, you should be able to keep them for practically ever as long as you own the hardware to actually access the games. But you know that's not the case, whether these games get removed from the storefronts or whether your account gets lost or gets damaged or you're unable to access your account for whatever the case may be. It is a very scary situation, and I want to actually talk about this again, even though I talked about it here on my YouTube channel, just because I am experiencing something that may actually happen to you guys, which is absolutely frustrating. Now, the thing is, I tried to access my PSN account recently, and basically what happened was I wasn't able to actually get access to my PSN account, and something is definitely going on with my PSN account, whether there's a glitch in the system, whether someone's hacking me. I don't know what the case is, but right now I am unable to access my PSN account. And I've looked into this issue on the internet, whether it's through like sites like Reddit or just different sites on the internet. And apparently a lot of people were having the same issue as me. And apparently a lot of people said if you do try to contact Sony, which to be quite frankly honest, I have not tried to contact Sony yet, which of course I am going to do probably relatively soon. I will get back to you guys on what the update is of my situation here. But a lot of people said, for one, Sony's customer service is just not the great. They go through all these loops, and a lot of people have said there's a whole bunch of things you have to do to actually get access to your account, because of course you just can't call up Sony and give them an email address and a user ID because they may think you're trying to steal someone else's account or hack into someone else's account. Apparently, from what I know, it's actually a pretty complicated situation. Apparently, if you want to get access to your account, you have to give them the serial number of the system you made the PSN account on. And that's something that absolutely frustrates me, just because you may not have access to the system you made the PSN account on. Let's say I made my PSN account on like an old PS3 system, for instance, like 10 years ago, and then I sold that system off, and then I bought a brand new one maybe years down the road, and then I wanted to sign into my PSN account. Honestly, that doesn't make sense, because you may not have access to the original console that you actually made your PSN account on, and that's something that can be frustrating. Why would they make you do that? I know they're really trying to protect people's profiles and protect people's accounts by not letting people actually get access to their accounts, by putting all these safeguards in place to actually prevent people from just calling Sony and stealing people's accounts. But come on, if that is actually the case, which I'm going to find out soon, that's absolutely ridiculous. Just think about it. How would you feel if you called a company up and said, oh, you need the original hardware to actually access your account? Think about it. People sell their systems break and things like that. So you can't expect somebody to have the original hardware that they originally made their old account on, because most likely you're not going to be able to keep that hardware for forever. Something's going to happen to that hardware whether you like it or not. So that just honestly doesn't make sense, and I hope that's actually not the case and not something I'm dealing with, because I don't even know what hardware or what console I actually made my PSN account on, and that's something that is scary. And then a lot of other people said they came to the conclusion that when they called Sony, all Sony said was, well, I'm sorry, the worst case is you're going to have to make a brand new PSN account and start from scratch. Do you think I can start from scratch, considering I bought in a lot of games? It's not simple to just buy. It's not just simple to buy to make a brand new account and then actually have to buy all these games over. You do have to remember as well, some of these games may not even be around by the time you make a brand new account. Like for instance, the situation with Scott Pilgrim Saves the World. You may remember Scott Pilgrim Saves the World is a game you can no longer buy right now. Same thing with oh, no, you can buy right now, excuse me, but I mean back in the day, they did remove it for a certain period of time off the storefront. So if you had it already downloaded on one of your accounts, you just couldn't make a brand new account, or you couldn't sign into somebody else's account and play it. You had to play it on the account that you bought the game on. Same thing goes for Forza Motorsport 7. I know you can buy that game digitally, but physically, but if you bought Forza Motorsport 7, if you bought that game on the digital storefront, they don't actually sell that anymore due to licensing issues. All the car licenses pretty much made that game unavailable on storefront. So if you have that game already downloaded it, you can re-download it, but you just can't buy it. So you can see how that can be a problem trying to start a brand new account for these systems and trying to either rebuy your games, which are just games are too expensive. You have hundreds, if not thousands of dollars of game purchases on these systems, or these games are just not available to download regardless of you having unlimited amounts of money to actually spend on these games, even if you wanted to re-download some of these games, which is absolutely scary. I know some of you out there are going to tell me, I know you guys are going to tell me, why do you buy digital games in the first place? You know there's always a risk of buying digital games, and of course I do get that. But there is the convenience of buying digital games. You do have to remember as well, you know you probably bought digital games as well. Let's face it, a lot of times you buy these games on a heavy discount on like a holiday sale. So of course it's very cheap. In some cases, it might be actually cheaper to buy a game digital during a sale versus buying the game physical. You do have to remember as well, there are some games that you're only able to buy digital and not physical at all, like a lot of indie games. Most indie games you're only able to buy in a digital form because they didn't make a physical version of that indie game, so you pretty much have to buy that game on a storefront. So don't tell me you haven't bought a digital game. Most people have bought one or two digital games no matter what. It's just that some people buy all their games on the digital storefronts, and that can be a very scary situation, like my situation. And hopefully Sony will come back and tell me that there is no problem with this. I can get this resolved as soon as possible so I can log in to my PSN account and get all my purchases back that I've paid my hard-earned money for, because this is absolutely ridiculous if I don't get my account back. And then you can see why I am very scared of the digital future. On one hand, again, I do love the fact that digital distribution is a very convenient thing to do, especially on the Nintendo Switch. On the Nintendo Switch, I know it's hard for me to say this, even though I keep saying I'm scared of the digital future. I'm guilty of buying a lot of mine, if not all my games, digital. I do have to admit, on the Nintendo Switch, it's very practical to buy all your games digital just because of the nature of the Nintendo Switch. It's a hybrid console, and a lot of times for a lot of people, they take their Switch on the go, so they would want to have all their games digital versus physical and not worry about those cartridges that you have to buy on the Nintendo Switch and take around with you because they're very small carts that could easily get lost or damaged. But yeah, the digital future is very scary. Honestly, I'm okay with the digital future of games where you download all of your games if you're guaranteed to keep your games for a lifetime and you know that the games won't disappear from these storefronts. Your accounts can't get hacked. The company won't shut down and you won't lose your purchases. You can play your purchases for a lifetime, but you know that's just not the case. Something may happen to your account like I'm experiencing right now. It's not just the fact that the games get removed off of the storefront and you don't have access to them due to licensing issues or due to some other issue that they pull these games from the storefront. You never know if one day, like me, you wake up and it's like, oh, too bad you don't have access to your account. I'm sorry, you can't even log in, even though you know your password, even though you know your email, you're just not allowed to access your account for one reason or another. And in some situations, the company may not even exist by the time you try to access your system, or these games, worst comes to worst, maybe locked to one system. Like for instance, Nintendo with the Wii. If your games are locked to that shop on the Wii and your Wii breaks and you try to get a brand new used Wii and you try to log in, you just can't get those games back anymore. And that's something that's ridiculous and frustrating. And it is a very scary situation knowing you paid your hard-earned money for so many games and it's just so expensive, and it just sucks that buying digital games is a very big risk, but I guess you already know that. But the problem is that's going to be the future of video games, unfortunately. And I keep talking about this so many times because it is frustrating. Anyway, that's about it for this video. I'll get back to you guys when I find a solution to my problem. Anyway, guys, this is Wayne from My Tech News signing out.